All right, joining me now is Dr. Lana for our weekly update. Dr. Lana, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
Hello. Always a pleasure.
You too. Hey, is it okay if we ask our audience to pray for your husband?
Oh, you're kind, and I won't get into all the details, but you're very kind, and I'll say yes always to that.
All right, good. All right, we'll be praying for your husband. Little medical thing. We all have those at some point, right, with family and ourselves. So we'll be praying for Dr. Lana for quick healing and peace in the lives of all involved, right?
Very kind. Very kind.
Your husband's a trooper. He's a trooper. All right. Let's talk about gut health. Gut health. We keep coming back to that, but there's more in the news about gut health. And I guess this, again, is something our audience obviously knows about, but a lot of people don't. You know, I had a meeting outside the studio today for a moment, which is not very common, actually, that I get outside of the studio. Oh, look at that. There's sunshine versus a dark studio with no windows. And I was noticing this gentleman in this meeting. He was working at this company. I was meeting with someone else off to the side. And when you looked at the guy, he was probably, I don't know, close to 6 feet tall. In the face, you thought, that's a thin, appropriate sized individual. But then when he sat down in the chair, and his shirt went a little tighter, he's wearing a sports shirt, I noticed, his belly. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's something I guess guys that, he's about my age, in the 50s, start trying to deal with that. But I said to myself, I wonder how much that is gluten. I hear about the gluten belly, right? Because you're looking at this gentleman and his face, his arms, everything looks very proportionate. And then all of a sudden, the belly. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't know, is that a beer belly? Is that a gluten belly? How much of this is related to gut health? So I'm thinking about the guys in our audience who, like me, want to look nice, want to be in shape, and don't want to carry that around. How much of that is, for me, it's not a beer belly because I don't drink, but alcohol. I drink water, and what else do I drink? Grape juice, etc. Coffee, but no alcohol. So for me, it's not a beer belly. I've gotten off gluten for a good month or more now, so that's decreasing inflammation. And of course, I'm very aware of sugars. But how much of this that we're seeing among, say, middle-aged men is gluten belly or gut issues?
And being the digestive health specialist for all of you and the audience here and you, Brandon, it is so much more than just gluten. And you're right. I mean, if you get rid of gluten, and not everybody is allergic to it. There's just about, say, round numbers, like 15% of the population and lower have issues with gluten, depending on what they have going on. If it's irritable bowel, if it's diverticulitis, if it's Crohn's, if it's colitis, if it's celiac disease. But here's the thing. When people give up gluten, think about everything that gluten is in. So they're giving up cookies and brownies and cakes and muffins and processed foods and all that stuff. Packages.
Don't I know it? Because I crave a good Oreo cookie or a good chocolate chip cookie and several blueberry muffins. Although my wife has found a really good gluten-free blueberry muffin mix that you wouldn't know. You would not. We actually had pizza the other night, gluten-free. You would not know. It's getting really good.
Right. My patients many years ago that I had to absolutely take off gluten. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to really try and do some substitutes. But now it is easier. So the nutshell with the gut, and as you know, in about a week, your audience will be able to go to a wonderful page and get an amazing program on gut health. If you have acid reflux, if you have bloat, if you have irritable bowel syndrome, this is for you. But here's the thing with gut health, Brandon, besides gluten, a lot of it is medication. Okay, so if people are on, even from birth control pills to over-the-counter medications, people are taking like omeprazole and Linzess or just antacids, things like that, that people are grabbing in the grocery store and the drugstore for a lot of different reasons. Maybe they're pain medication over the counter, or maybe they are for bloat or gut issues over the counter. That destroys your good gut bacteria. Any pharmaceutical medication destroys your good gut bacteria. One pill in one prescription. Of course, alcohol destroys it. I don't drink either, but sugar, processed food will destroy your good gut bacteria. So what happens to people is you don't have enough good gut bacteria, and you've got all these symptoms. Then you've got the bloat, you've got some GI issues. And the other thing that I explain in the program, one of the biggest myths about gut health is that if a person has acid reflux, GERD, bloat, abdominal discomfort, or irritable bowel syndrome, all the above, they don't have enough stomach acid, that they don't have enough hydrochloric acid in their stomach. Wrong, incorrect. That is a huge myth. You don't want to take medication that reduces your stomach acid. And it's not about not having enough stomach acid. You need more. You need more stomach acid to properly churn up and break down all the good food you're eating. Even if it's organic fruits and vegetables, you need stomach acid to break it up properly so that it can be absorbed in your small intestine and your blood and your cells. So the end of this story, my friends, is what happens with those digestive issues, whether it's gluten or medications or processed foods or carbonated drinks will do it. All of the above destroys your gut bacteria. What happens over the years, if you're over 35 years old, this is probably starting to go on, is you have, and I explain this in the program, what's called, the fancy name, lower esophageal sphincter. So let's say LES. And it's like the door, the steel door that is top of your stomach, bottom of your esophagus. Well, when you eat, that should close. That LES should close because you've got all the acid churning up the food. So what happens with age and with processed foods and maybe gluten and medications and alcohol and carbonated beverages, and there's a host of things that destroy your gut bacteria. People get unbalanced gut bacteria that have dysbiosis. What happens is that muscle starts to wave open like draperies at a beach house, and the beach breeze is blowing open the draperies. So what happens, the acid starts coming up and people start getting, heartburn and bloat and even chest pain and tightness. And that can lead into autoimmune diseases and even esophageal cancer, stomach cancer, colon cancer, autoimmune diseases, really bad things. And you have to go back to focusing on your gut health and healing your gut health. So we're gonna help a lot of people. Do you know, by the way, I'm a numbers girl, 101 million. Hear this out. Most Americans are going, I'm okay, Dr. Lana. I don't have bloat. I think I'm okay. 101 million Americans have acid reflux or irritable bowel syndrome, and they're in danger of all of those things that I just said.
So that's a third of the country.
1 in 3 of all of you beautiful people probably need this program and need to really sit up and say, wow.
Now, where do our folks access that?
We're gonna announce that. You can announce that next week, and your
Perfect.
lovely son is going to put a link in there. We'll give them all the good information.
Perfect.
And it's really, there is a step-by-step process. There's a 3-phase process. If you have bloat, if you have acid reflux, there's a 4-phase process if you have irritable bowel syndrome. And I promise you, you're not going to learn this on ChatGPT, and your gastroenterologist isn't trained in this. I feel, you all know, blessed by God, blessed by Jesus to be trained the way that I was by these amazing medical doctors that put the patients first. And so this is going to be the first of several programs that we're going to have to help you out. And it's for your audience. It's just for your audience. So stay tuned. And you'll let them know. We'll let them know probably
Excellent.
next week where the landing page is and everything. It's really, really important. It affects your immune system, how you think, foggy brain, all kind of things, your energy. It affects all kind of things. Your gut health does.
Anything else in the news we should know about? I know one. I played this. I want to get your response to this. Oh my, this makes me so angry. I knew about this. I knew about this a year ago. Let's see, RFK Jr.
And I will share while you're looking that up. I'll pop in and share because we're the good team here, Brandon, is honestly, and we can't make this up, the Gatatana alone has nutrients in it that absolutely support your immune system, because you know that 70% of your immune system is in your gut.
Yes.
But the nutrients that you need for all kind of other issues are all in the Gatatana. They're in the tetrasod as well. And you don't have to worry if you have impaired gut tissues or impaired gut health, because the phytoplankton is absorbed right in your bloodstream, right in your cells. That's not the case with healthy food. It needs to go through your GI tract.
Right. Of course,
phytoplankton doesn't.
And I take that every day. Melissa takes it every day. By the way, I've been dosing double on it. I'm really trying to get, whatever it was that hit me this last spring after we got back from DC. I don't know if it was COVID for the third or fourth time, but I was already struggling before DC with my throat. Whatever this is, I don't know if you're hearing this in your practice, whatever I've had since March, that it seemed to really go after my throat. And I've had the hardest time fighting being hoarse. Okay, now I talk for a living, and I have for years. My voice should be able to, I sing, I've stood there and done hour concert. But I mean, just a day on the air can make me hoarse by night. My voice has gotten really weak. And I don't know if there was a virus that was particularly going after people's voices and throats or what, I don't know. But I've been doing Numi 2 or 3 times a day. Melissa's been doing that as well. She says she's seen a big increase. I've been doing Numi 2 or 3 times a day. Supposed to do it in the morning and night, I know, but I've been doubling up, sometimes 4 times a day. I've been doing Gatatana twice a day. So I've been doing my Bella Grace twice a day. I'm really trying to boost my immune system. Have you heard about any of this that I'm talking about? Some kind of virus or something going around that seems to go after people's throats or vocal cords or, just.
Yes. And there's so many strains of virus, and the common cold's a coronavirus, and there's, multitude of viruses out there. But for the throat, honestly, and I have pre-surgery, I'll share. I have my husband is swishing 2 white capsules or 2 teaspoons every hour on the hour that he's awake for surgery, because glutathione removes all the viruses, all the heavy metals, all the poisons and toxins and forever chemicals, and even the toxins from your cell phone called peroxynitrite. No other molecule in the world other than glutathione can remove that and everything that I just mentioned. So it's amazing. No side effects or anything. Glutathione's in our cells, and we started losing it at age 20. The other thing that'll help you all out is with the Gatatana. You're absolutely right. And I can say this legally here to help you all. This is pure nutrition. Everybody, honestly, I've never said this about one particular thing. Every American should take 1 scoop of Gatatana a day. There's no contraindications. This is God's food. You can give it to a toddler, a grade schooler, a teenager, a baby, because it's food. It's microscopic food. It's the first nutrient on the planet. I was talking to our CEO earlier, and he said, this is the pole position. If you're into racing or race car racing, this is the pole position of nutrition. It's the first thing, and all of the nutrients go inside your cell membranes and fuel your mitochondria. So this is basic nutrition from God. Man didn't make it. Man didn't add anything to it. We just dried it, put it in the jar. This is something, honestly, every single American should take a scoop a day. If, and this is the legal part, compliance, right? If your health has suddenly become your number one priority, went to the doctor and got some really, really upsetting news, you could take 10 scoops a day. 5 before lunch, 5 before dinner, 5 before breakfast, 5 before lunch. You could take 10 scoops a day. And that's what hundreds of thousands of people did in Canada for 12 years. The tetrasod, is 95% gaditana. This is 95% nutrition and 5% superoxide dismutase, the strain of phytoplankton that has the most powerful antioxidant in it, superoxide dismutase. And this is plants from the ocean. So if you want to boost your immune system, or you work out and exercise a lot, you want to do the tetrasod. And once again, legally, if health has suddenly become your number one priority, you can take 10 scoops a day. And
Wow.
There's zero contraindications with anything, with medications, nothing, because it's literally God's first food
All
on
natural.
the planet.
Okay, before I play this clip that's, again, had my blood boiling last night.
Yes.
But you are hearing people around the country struggling with vocal issues.
Yes. And I'll help you out really quick.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is?
Well, it's just viruses attack different parts. Different viruses can attack different parts. Sometimes, COVID was the mainly respiratory system. And then we know the vaccines hit the reproductive system, cardiovascular system, and all of that. So with this throat thing that's going on, absolutely, I would do the power pack. And if you can, do the blue, the Numi and the tetrasod. The other thing that you can all do, and this would help you, Brandon, you probably have throat coat tea from the grocery store. Do you ever get throat coat tea from the grocery store? It's in the section of tea bags. It's called throat coat, and it has a lot of good things in it to soothe the throat, especially for people that speak a lot or that scratchiness. Obviously, you can do hot sea salt water. Don't scald yourself, but as warm as you can stand it, and put a couple tablespoons of pink sea salt in it. Gargle with that several times a day as well.
Excellent.
The last thing I'll share with all of you, besides this and this, don't ever be without these, is local honey has natural properties. If you can get a local from where you live, and you take a tablespoon a day, that elixir is also very good. And God made that too, but if you can't get local honey. So there you go. There's my Dr. Lana tips for all that.
Excellent. Now, I knew about this last summer. I found out about this last summer, but I didn't have any authoritative information to really talk much about it. I played this last night on our Worldview 2 Washington report. And Jim Paff, he had never heard this. He was irate too. I think most of you are going to be angry when you see this, but thank the Lord for RFK Jr. and his team. Watch and listen to this, my friends.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary. Addiction typically affects about 10% of any population, but it becomes a national crisis when the addictive substance suddenly becomes available. And today we are facing a new addiction crisis because of the availability of synthetic kratom, which is also called gas station heroin.
Our focus is not on kratom or the kratom plant. Our concern is with the synthetic concentrated byproduct. It goes by several names. We call it 7-OH as the collective term. 7-OH is not just like an opioid. It is an opioid, and yet it is sold in vape stores, in smoke shops, in convenience stores, and gas stations.
And they're marketed for children. They're gummy bears. They're bright colors. They're candy flavored.
It's legal, but it's an addiction that's ruining lives.
So we are issuing a report from the FDA to educate doctors and parents alike. We want everyone to understand the risks. 7-OH is 13 times more potent than morphine. The FDA is going to be recommending that the DEA consider the synthetic concentrated byproduct of kratom called 7-OH as a Schedule 1 controlled substance. And so that's part of our efforts here.
Marty, Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for doing this, because it also puts Congress on notice too, right? We're not only educating the public, but you're educating Congress about 7-OH. Fortunately, we have a secretary that understands addiction, and you're willing to stand up and actually take this on.
Thank you, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. This is a product that is today available in gas stations all over America, and smoke shops and vape shops. You need to have that conversation with your kids, and you need to have that conversation with your physician. Thank you all very much.
Well, there you go. Is that not make you angry? Now, most Americans don't know this. I just found out about it a year ago. Jim Papp, my co-host on that Worldview 2 Wash Report, he's very up on what's going on. He didn't know about it, which I'm guessing if someone like Jim Papp, who studies the news and everything like I do, didn't know about it, there's a lot of Americans that don't. Gas station heroin, as it's called, marketed to children, that is 13 times stronger than morphine. It's not like opioids. It is an opioid. I mean, can you believe this, Dr. Lana? In gas stations and vape shots?
When I tell you, and your audience knows that we don't plan this is God. This is Jesus. So just today, I was helping someone because their niece that's in high school just started going, the gas station opioid, gas station heroin, in the vapes and all the other products there, and was having some behavior issues, and then started getting those products because, this young girl wanted to chill out and
I was about to say they have anxiety, which is it's the buzzword of all the young people. It's kind of become their word that supposedly justifies whatever. Well, I've got anxiety. I mean, I got my finger on this one. I did a show on this a few years ago, and I'm telling you, I have talked to enough parents and grandparents. We get a lot of emails here. So we're able to kind of figure out what the teens are saying and doing. And the thing is, all of them say they're suffering from anxiety. Now, some of them maybe are, from COVID shots to vaccines to all the garbage that's in the food. And who knows what's in these vapes they're vaping. But, so many of these kids have anxiety. And then they start self-medicating. And they find out they can self-medicate at what they pick up at the gas station. Am I right?
You are right. I just had this conversation with a dear friend of mine. We've been friends for 20 years, and this is their niece. She's like, oh my gosh. And again, we can't plan this, but the glutathione removes every toxin from the body. Okay. And what a lot of you don't know, in one of the programs, I will let the cat out of the bag, as each month we're going to, over the next 3 months, help you all with programs that you won't be able to get anywhere else. But we are going to have one for the brain that would cover everything from brain fog to ADD, behavior issues, all the way to helping Alzheimer's and dementia. So what a lot of you don't realize, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned it here, but in Canada, this was first released. It was sold in 3,000 pharmacies in Canada. They used a different box and name. And that's why David came to me and said, the CEO of Global Phytoplankton Alliance said, oh my gosh, American families deserve to know about Gadatana and Tetrasod. So in Canada, 1 scoop a day of Gadatana, we're not making any health claims, but parents just began to give it to their teenagers who had aggressive behavior. They were goth, they were dark, they were cutting themselves, you name it. And this is general, it's a truth, I'm not making a claim, but after a scoop a day of Gadatana, after a couple of months, these parents got their teenagers back. No more cutting, no more aggression, no more anger, no more mood swings, no more goth. Why? Because this is perfect, pure, microscopic nutrition that gets right in the cells. You can hide it in any cold liquid or food. It tastes awful. It's grown in beautiful, pure seawater, so it tastes like seaweed. Nobody likes to taste.
No, but
Put
it
it
doesn't
in-
taste. I'm going to correct you. It doesn't taste awful to me.
Oh, I put it in water, but
I
a lot
put
of
water
people
and drink
are
it. It
like,
doesn't.
"Ooh."
It doesn't taste anything. It really has no taste to me. The first time it did, it tasted
I
a little
agree.
green. It tasted a little green the first time I had it, but after a couple times of having it, I don't. It doesn't have. It has no taste to me. It's like drinking water.
Right. I agree with you. But a lot of people are like, oh, seaweed. Put it in a couple ounces of cold liquid, nothing carbonated, no dairy, couple ounces of coconut water, a couple ounces of citrus juice. My mom puts it in chocolate almond milk. As long as it's cold liquid, that's not dairy, not carbonated, nothing hot, a couple ounces and just shoot it down. But the stories of behavior issues calming with this is really been quite a blessing.
Well, wouldn't you be shocked by that when you realize that moms have started to change the diet of their autistic children, and then within a few weeks, it's like a light has been turned on, and the child is not manifesting the kind of behaviors they were. And unless you really knew the child, you wouldn't think there was anything going on. Whereas before, it was very obvious. So obviously, there's something going on with gut health, immune system, at the cellular level, the brain, right? So why would we be shocked that some of these problems that teenagers are manifesting could not also be corrected with nutrition, particularly with all the, vaccines, the COVID, people shedding on them, the garbage in our food, the lunches that they eat at school, the forever microplastics. Why would we not be shocked that there's a way to try to help some of these kids? Not every kid, but certainly some of them could definitely be helped. I mean, when you compare what the moms have done with their autistic kids, that tells me, hey, there is a connection here between some behavior and nutrition.
Absolutely. And the one thing is, and this is just, oh my gosh, you're right. You just get so furious. What I would do out of the gate, I mean, I just studied, autism and all that, studied with an amazing, pediatrician many, many years ago in school. Absolutely. I'd take them off of gluten. I'd just do all gluten-free, gluten-free, dairy-free. You can look up all kind of recipes, moms, and dads. And oh my gosh, I would do a scoop of Gatatana every single day and I would even, I say as a mom too, not just as a doctor, if my daughter was a toddler again or a young child, I would still hide a scoop a day, in a little bit of maybe plant-based pudding or a little bit of, coconut water, something like that. But the other thing that I want to share about mental health and behavior issues in people, children, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about autism or ADD or just behavior issues or depression or anxiety, is these antidepressants. And I studied with Dr. Peter Breggin, extraordinary. He's, I think, 90 years old, I think almost. He's a Harvard psychiatrist. And he never wrote a new prescription for an antidepressant or antipsychotic ever, for someone that came into his practice and never was on an antidepressant or antipsychotic. He would never write a new prescription. The only reason he wrote a prescription for them is to help wean new patients that came in on these drugs. These drugs cause anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and depression. It's awful. The antidepressants cause depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. I have friends whose sons have committed suicide. It just happened to be they were all boys, and they were all on antidepressants.
How many?
3. And I just...
3 of their children?
No, 3 different people I know, their sons were on antidepressants.
And committed suicide.
And
well, Dr. Breggin has testified in almost all the major school shooting trials, and he says hardly any of these school shooters weren't on some or more than one psychotropic.
Right. Absolutely. Going back to Columbine, there's books about it. And those behavior issues and anxiety and stress and depression, your brain, and my friend runs the American Brain Council. He's an incredible person. He's a director of all education and works with one of the top neurologists in the country. Your brain needs zinc and magnesium, and your brain needs omega-3 fatty acids and B vitamins and iron. What do you think is in Gatatana?
All of that.
all of that. And so you hear everybody saying, oh my gosh. And you and I, we joked a little bit because we're the type A, go, go, go.
Mhm.
And we're like, we're calmer.
That's
And
right.
we don't have any depression issues or,
No, I
but
don't.
life is hard. It's stressful.
Yep.
College, I have a doctorate. You know how hard that was and stressful. And I'm sure I had anxiety all through school and the whole time I was pregnant. And now, helping my husband get better. Sure, we all have anxiety, but we don't have to take medication. We've got beautiful things that,
Yep.
just take every day.
Absolutely. And I'll just say this. When you, listening friends, know of someone that is struggling with anxiety, that is struggling with depression, look, I don't give medical advice. Okay? I'm giving my opinion. But when you run into people that are struggling with depression, anxiety, these different things, one of the things I have counseled people that I know have gotten into this spot is, look, here's my opinion. You can either turn to alcohol, and a lot of people do, and you can become an alcoholic. And more than likely, you'll destroy your life and your health, and you'll live a very short life, and you'll have a miserable life. And you'll destroy your life and those around you. So you can turn to alcohol to deal with your problems. You can turn to psychotropics. You can turn to marijuana and other drugs that are now legalized, sadly, in most states. But you can turn to psychotropics. And that psychotropic, having interviewed Dr. Bregan so many times, is going to have, they say a side effect, but it's really the effect. And then you're going to have to get on another one to deal with that side effect. And then another one. And pretty soon you're taking a lot of these, and your life is going to spiral. Or you can get to the root of your problem. What is the root of your problem? Is it unresolved bitterness? Is it anger? Is it whatever it is? And of course, as a Christian, are you worrying about things you shouldn't be worrying about? Tomorrow has enough problems of its own. Just deal with today. Trust in the Lord. I mean, now these are not spiritual platitudes I give you just to say, put a Band-Aid on it. No, get to the root of the problem. What is it? Unresolved conflict? Is it feelings of you don't measure up? Well, then maybe that's because, again, you're looking at other people and you're spending too much time focusing on all the fake social media out there, most of it which is not real. It's staged, it's fake, and you're somehow comparing yourself. And at the end of the day, who cares what these people think about you, right? Live your own life and find happiness and joy in your life without looking at what everybody, don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses. That's a miserable way to live. Sail your own boat. But then I say to them, is it that you need exercise? Do you need more sleep? Are you getting enough nutrition? But yes, consult your doctor, but be careful. They're going to rip out a prescription pad. But I've said to several people that have come to me over the years, you're going to either have the option of turning to alcohol, as I said, psychotropic drugs, marijuana, all these things. But you want to be careful. These are all, in my opinion, traps. They're not your solution. And I've had people come back to me and say, because of your advice, I went and sought what was the problem, and I dealt with the problem, and I never did the alcohol, the psychotropics, started smoking pot. And I want to tell you, I'm married, I've got children, life is good. And I'm telling you, there are so many people that don't get this kind of advice. But when you get there, you're at a crossroad, okay? You're going to make one of the most important decisions of your life right now. And which way you go is not only going to impact you, but everyone around you. And for some of you, it will mean a failed marriage, failed relationship with your children, eventually no relationship with your grandchildren. Some of your kids are going to cut you off because they can't stand the drama and the craziness. So when you get to this spot, you're at a crossroad. And the decision you make is going to have possibly serious lifelong consequences. Don't believe someone just because they have a white smock on and a prescription pad. That's my opinion. Doctor, closing comment?
Absolutely right with you. And the reason why I have so much respect for the medical doctors that trained me is they did the right thing for the patient. And they said, just start with, and I won't go on, but I studied cognitive behavior therapy. I'm not a therapist, but it goes back to what you were saying. Just to help you all out, closing comments, your circumstances or anybody's circumstances or just events that happen, whether somebody had a car accident and they broke their wrist, or you have this job or whatever. That's the facts. That's the circumstances. Now, this is so important, and I don't mind diving into this as we go on over the weeks, but this is so important, what you said. Those are facts. Circumstances are facts that you can't change. It's how you think about them that causes a reaction that ends up a good result or a bad result. So your thoughts, you can either be negative, or say, you know what? Oh my gosh, my brother got in a car accident. Thank God he only broke his wrist. He could have been killed. Or some people are like, oh my gosh, my brother got in a car accident, and like their whole day, their life is ruined, their week is ruined. They've ruined everybody else around them because of how they're thinking about a fact, an event. Your thoughts create actions that you're going to take, and your actions will create your results. You're absolutely right. Get to the root of the problem, because it's much easier to do that, Brandon, than to help withdraw from either alcohol or drugs or antidepressants.
Yep.
That is a nightmare to come off of.
And some people have very serious, deep issues. Maybe they were molested as a child, right?
Yes.
But alcohol and drugs, or masking it with psychotropics, is not going to fix that problem. It's not going to change what happened to you. It's only going to give you a new set of problems, right? So yes, some of you have really serious things that have occurred in your life, but you've got to get with a good counselor, a good Bible counselor, someone like Dr. Peter Bregan, who just isn't writing a prescription pad, but is saying, let's get to the root of this issue and talk it out and get it settled in your mind, right? I know people, okay? I know people that were molested as children. I know a lady that was molested by her own father repeatedly. Okay? This was one of my good friends going through 6th through 12th grade's mother. Okay? And she would publicly tell her testimony and speak of her testimony of what happened to her and her siblings. And her story was broadcast. We've aired it. We've carried it. She has a powerful testimony. And she could have destroyed her life. She didn't. She came to terms with it. She dealt with it. Became a strong Christian. And she went on to influence thousands of people as someone that helped to build what is now very large Christian school, and has impacted thousands of lives. And her story has been aired, and millions of people have heard her story. So I'm not undermining the fact that some people have deep waters they've been through and they're trying to deal with it. But I know people that have gone through the most horrific of things, and they didn't turn to alcohol, they didn't turn to psychotropics, they didn't turn to drugs. And you know what? They have powerful stories that are impacting so many people, and their lives have been so blessed and impacted, and they have a sensitivity for people. This lady was known for having a real heart for people that were down and out, the underdog, people struggling. God was able to take what was horribly evil and use it in her life to give her a very sensitive heart toward people that are struggling. So I can point to several people that could have destroyed their lives, but they chose not to. So I don't want to undermine somebody's real life experience of horrific things like sexual abuse. But I'm not giving professional opinions or professional advice here, my opinion. I just think people need to be very, very careful about how the modern day doctor and psychologists and psychiatrists want to handle this problem, which is why I appreciate our mutual friend, Dr. Peter Bregan, who's written these New York Times bestsellers, trying to help set people free, not give them another monkey on their back, right?
Absolutely. And, he talks about, and it was so many years ago, but bottom line, this is what I would share. And Dr. Bregan says, it comes down to love. People just want love. They want acceptance. And know that when you dive into your Christianity, as most people, watching here do, God made you. So God doesn't make mistakes. You're a miracle. You're a beautiful person, and God made you in love, and God made you all in his, image and perfection. So lean into that too. I always tell people, especially all the terrible things that you mentioned, Brandon, there's nothing wrong with that person. God made them a miracle and, in love. And that's really what all of us need to feel loved and, kindness. It sounds so elementary, but just be kind. I tell everybody, just be kind to everyone around you, and everything can get worked out. And if you talk it out, but it comes down to love and remembering that God made you a miracle.
And you never know what people are dealing with, right? When we look to react to someone that cuts in front of us at the grocery store, or they thought we cut in front of them and they give you an attitude or mouth off. What I often say is diffuse the situation. Remember, there are cameras running. Everything is on video. Diffuse the situation. It's not worth it. Back up and think, she could have just found out her husband's divorcing her. She could have just found out she's got stage 3 cancer, stage 4 cancer. She could have just lost a parent. I'm not justifying the behavior, but you have no idea what's going on in that person's life. Maybe they're just a jerk, but you have no idea what's going on in someone's life. And I always just try to say, I don't know what's going on in that person's life. Maybe something, and it's not worth the drama, and de-escalate the situation. But there are a lot of people going through a lot of garbage. There are a lot of people. My wife and I are continually hearing from people, because of the scope and size of our radio and TV show, the deep, deep waters that so many people are going through, heartbreaking stories. So I just say amen to what Dr. Lana said, because so many people, they're struggling with things and they don't tell you. And when you realize what they're going through, you're like, well, no wonder they act that way. Just love on them, be kind. Even if it's the stranger, just be nice to them, have a nice word. And you might actually see their attitude change. We've done that, of course. We've run into situations, you turn around, you're nice to them. Oh, I am so sorry. You go in front of me. I am so sorry. Forgive me. And watch their behavior change, right? My wife deals with it in customer support. She'll get some people on the line that are pretty hostile, upset about something. And then as soon as my wife is nice and kind, I'm so sorry, we can work that out. They turn very quickly. They just switch 180 degrees, right? And they just wanted someone to listen and pay attention, understand, right? And they were frustrated. And the Bible says that, right? A soft word turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. But just remember, a lot of people going through a lot of garbage in this world, and some of them are at the end of their rope, And I even prayed today. I said, Lord, there are people we run into in this line of work that we're in. We have contractors in and out of our studio, fixing the AC unit, fixing and adding a new electrical panel because we're pulling so much power. We have people coming in and out of here all the time. And some of them don't know who we are, but they walk through our studios. Boy, they know now. And I think I want to treat these people in a way where they say, oh, that guy's a Christian? You know what? I could see that because he's a very nice man. He's a gentleman. He's kind. He's patient. He doesn't get upset with us. We come through. We deal with him. He's a nice man. Because at the end of the day, we're going to die. And I want people saying around town, you know what? I dealt personally with Brandon House. He was a first-rate Christian guy. And so your testimony is going before a lot of us, right? And I try to remind myself of that. Closing comment?
Absolutely.
I said that. Now the second time
Absolutely.
I said that.
That's okay, and we're here to help everyone. And God put us together, right? You, Melissa, and I. And I will share, and I give credit where credit is due. Besides the amazing medical doctors that trained me, Stephen K. Scott, the founder of NUME, and I talk about what David Hunter too at the Phytoplankton Company. But Stephen Scott said to me, Lana, years and years ago, and he told me his life story and everything. But bottom line, he said, Dr. Gary Smalley, his friend, and his mentor, told him to read Proverbs every day. Every morning, get up, and Proverbs, there's a chapter of 31, chapters. So today is the 31st. So I read Proverbs 31. Tomorrow's the first, I read Proverbs 1. It just takes you a few minutes. And I even go on Amazon. Some of you can spread the love, right? And you can order a book of Proverbs on Amazon. Those of you that can, it's only like $11 or $12. And I'll give those to people, or I'll mail them, or I'll write a nice note in them, friends, family, somebody you just meet, somebody that was nice to you in the doctor's office, whatever, and say, I don't know what you believe, but I have given that book out a lot. And Stephen Scott said his life changed when he started to read Proverbs every single morning, one chapter quickly. And he does it every single day. And he's done it for years and years and years. So that
There's obviously, it goes without saying, there's so much wisdom in the Bible. Obviously, it's God's wisdom. But I don't know where it exactly is. But one proverb is that anxiety creates depression. Anxiety creates depression. Maybe I could look that up real quick, but then I gotta go. But anxiety creates depression. What verse is that? Proverbs. What?
Right. What's going to lean into?
Because you think about that. Doesn't that make sense? Proverbs 12, verse 5. Anxiety in the heart of a man causes depression. Proverbs 12, verse 25. And don't we have a lot of people today that are anxious for whatever reason, perceived or reality, and a lot of people that are struggling with depression. So isn't that interesting? Get the anxiety under control before it runs into depression. Wow.
Right.
Dr.
Be grateful,
Lana,
be grateful, be grateful. We'll talk about gratitude sometime too.
That's
what it does
right.
for the brain.
Yes, that's right. That's a great song out of, is it White Christmas? When I count my blessings. It's I think Bing Crosby singing it. And there's also, of course, the hymn that we have that we know, that many of us know about blessings. But you're right. And I said that to my wife, and I said that a few weeks ago. We're having, like everybody else, you got issues that you're dealing with, this and that and whatever. And I said to my wife, today I stopped to remind myself of all the great things going on in our life right now. I think it was the IRS. It was when we were dealing with the IRS and they're penalizing me $49,000 something because I dared to write our payroll taxes with a check because our system was down instead of online. And I'm thinking, I don't want to give these idiots $49,000. And I could be really angry and bitter about that. And I said to my wife, but you know what I'm doing? I'm listing off all the great things that are going on in our family, all the great things going on in our life, all the great things going on with our broadcast network, all these great things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let this. So I say, count your blessings, name them one by one, and see what God has done. That's the hymn. Dr. Lana, Inspired by Wellness, and also get all these great products at worldviewtube.com/sponsors, worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Thank you, Dr. Lana. Praying for your husband.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless everyone.
All right, guys, before we go tonight, I want to just, again, stress our vault, okay? I cannot tell you how vital this vault is because this is 35 years of radio shows, TV shows, Bible studies, church services that I've taught on Sunday nights, like my Revelation series. This is interviews with leading experts in economics and law and science and history and so many issues. And folks, if you have a question, your kids, your grandkids, your friends, your spouse, someone's got a question, you're likely going to find a good, solid answer when you belong to the vault because you're going to be able to access 35 years of trusted, documented information. You don't need to buy any of the 17 books I've written. And yes, I wrote them. I don't have ghostwriters. You'd be surprised at how many of the big names, those are ghostwriters. I know who some of their ghostwriters are. I don't use ghostwriters because I love writing. I love writing. I love research. I love it. I love doing it. So yeah, you can get access to my books. That's why I say my books. I don't know how someone says, yeah, get my book. I'm like, you didn't write that book. I know who wrote your books. I have a friend of mine that brags that he makes some of the royalties off your books. And he tells me he wrote every word. Liar, liar, pants on fire. But I say my books, and I can say that honestly because I wrote them. And you can get access to those books. Did you just laugh at that, Logan? I love it when I hear these guys laughing in the control room. Have you never heard that one, Logan? In elementary school. Oh, now they're all really laughing in there. All right. Anywho, have you heard that one about I am rubber, you are glue, whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you? That one you never heard? How about sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? You do know that one. All right. Where were we? You guys distract me with the laughing in there. So when I say my books, I just want to reiterate, I wrote them. That's why I say my books. These other guys shouldn't be saying. They should be saying my ghostwriters books. But anyway, if you want to get access to the 17 books I actually wrote myself, then you can do that. You don't need to buy them. You don't need to buy them. They're there. They're in the vault. So again, I cannot tell you how many times I myself go to my own vault to get information because I know I interviewed somebody on this topic. I know someone has the information I'm needing from an interview I did years ago, and I find it in my own vault. So I'm telling you now, get the vault, worldviewtube.com/vault, worldviewtube.com/vault. And then finally, worldviewfoundation.com. It's summertime. Giving is down, always is in the summer. That's where I start stressing out a little bit. Because I'm like, where is everybody? Please do not forget about us during the summer months. Go to Worldview. This is why it's so important for you guys to set up automatic contributions, because when you get busy, you then don't forget about us because it's automatic. But please consider setting up an automatic contribution. Worldviewfoundation.com. Otherwise, if you want to do occasional contribution, that's fine too. I'm not going to complain. We just appreciate your supporting us. You can also use our mailing address there if you prefer. Remember, we send out our receipts for your paperwork, for your taxes with our EIN number the first week of February each and every year. Otherwise, if you want to use our phone number there, you can use that. You can leave a voicemail or text Melissa, and she'll get back to you and help you make a contribution over the phone. But this is what keeps our Worldview channel, this 24/7 stream going, our health channel, our Bible channel, our prophecy channel, our new news channel. Folks, we're pushing out a lot of content for free, brought to you in part by our foundation, worldviewfoundation.com. May God save America. Take care.